Welcome to Parenting Your Sensitive Child. Parenting a highly sensitive child can feel overwhelming, and all the parenting books in the world can only get you so far if your head and your heart are out of alignment with your child's. I'm your host, Julia McGarry. Let's create a new parenting paradigm. Hey y'all. I mentioned last week that I wanted to share a story with you about bedtime and problem solving. One of the biggest things I work on with my clients is including their children in the problem solving process. We talk about having conversations outside of the moment when everyone has calmed down. One of the challenges that often arises, though, is time. It can feel like there's no time to have these conversations, and then you just feel stuck. The pattern persists, and you're scrambling for ways to solve it in the moment that may or may not work, and you're never actually getting to the true root of the problem. So, I want this story to be an example of what's possible. I want it to be evidence for you that these conversations don't have to be hard. You ready? Over our winter break, we were spending a lot more time gaming than we normally do. My daughter got a Nintendo Switch for Christmas. It was a lot of fun, but we noticed that bedtime was becoming a bigger challenge too. There was a lot of resistance, a lot of standing in front of the mirror doing nothing, a lot of running out of the bathroom and doing anything but getting ready, and a lot of frustration on the parental end of things. I found myself losing my patience and raising my voice to get her attention, which is not how I want to engage with my daughter. It's not how I want to show up. And when I do find myself doing this, because we're all human and none of us are perfectly calm all the time, that's important to know. You don't have to be perfect. When I find myself doing this, I take it as a sign that there is work to be done. So, when I saw this becoming a pattern, when I found myself getting frustrated at bedtime on more than one occasion, I knew I needed to have a conversation with my daughter. I recognized this in the moment, and I made a mental note to circle back and talk to her about it once we were both in a better frame of mind. So I kind of put myself in the mindset of being on the lookout for when I could just mention it to her. And as I'm telling this, I realize this story is an example of how effective a change of scenery can be for resetting. See, we finished out the bedtime routine that night, picked out some books, and climbed into her bed. And I realized really quickly that we were both in better frames of mind. And so once we were there, I said, hey, I feel like getting ready for bed has been kind of bumpy lately. I'm not sure why that is, but I would love to talk to you and hear what you think about it. Whenever you're ready, I'd love to have a conversation and see if we can figure out a way to help it go a bit more smoothly for you. Now, I was thinking, I'm just going to let her know, I'm just going to give her a heads up that I'd like to talk through this, and we can talk when she's ready. But do you know what happened? She said, okay, I'm ready now. And I want you to know that it doesn't always go that way. I wasn't really expecting her to be ready right then. Sometimes they need more distance or more time to process. Sometimes they don't come to you. They don't come to you and find you to talk, even though you ask them to come when they're ready. And sometimes you have to bring it up again. There isn't one right way to have these conversations, but they don't have to be a big ordeal either. So, we're in her bed. We started talking, and she told me that she thought she was watching YouTube and playing games too close to bedtime, and that was what was making it hard for her. She also told me she doesn't like having to stay in the bathroom and do everything all at once. She wants to space out her tasks better and be able to play in between. So like she wants to brush her hair and then go play, and then come back and brush her teeth and then go play. That made sense to me. So she decided she wanted to make a schedule for her time off that gave her time to play with her new Nintendo Switch, watch YouTube, and play with her other toys. She wanted to turn off the screens earlier and start bedtime a little earlier too, so that she could space out those tasks and play in a creative, inventive way. She's a really imaginative kid. She really likes to play with her stuffies, and that was something she was feeling like she was missing out on. I told her that sounded like a good plan, and that we could always revisit it if we tried it and decided it wasn't working. And do you know what she did the next morning? She actually got up and got to work on creating her schedule. It was a bit more structured than I would prefer, but we gave it a go, and it worked for a couple of days. And then she realized that she didn't want to always do things in the same order, so we adapted. The things that stuck, though, were turning off screens by 5:30 and spacing out the bedtime tasks, so doing them didn't feel as overwhelming. Now, I want to say that if you have never tried this with your kids, it's so worth it. I strongly encourage you to give it a try. You will be amazed by how insightful they can be and how adept they are at finding solutions that work for them. And if you have tried it with your kids and it hasn't worked the way I'm describing it, or it's left you feeling frustrated, please don't give up. It is a process. It involves many conversations over time, a willingness to circle back, to try again, and a willingness to revise. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to work with them at their own pace. Don't give up. And remember, this is something that I work with my clients on over the course of our 6 months together. It requires a shift in thinking on your end, and it may require some trust building for your child if you've been operating in a different way for many years. It is worth it. It will change the relationship you have with your child, and it's a skill that you can carry with you as they move toward adulthood. I hope this example helps you see how you could integrate conversations like this into your time with your child, even when it feels like that time is pretty full already. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I will talk to you in the next episode. Do you feel like you're parenting 24/7 and you're still not sure your child is getting what they need? Are you ready to stop parenting reactively and start living in partnership with your sensitive child? Are you ready to reclaim time for yourself and time for your dreams? Then you're going to want to explore coaching with me. I help my clients tune out all the noise, better understand their kids, build a parenting strategy that meets their family's specific needs, and do the mindset work necessary to implement that strategy consistently without sacrificing themselves in the process. To get started, just head over to partnerpath.com, click on coaching, and get your free consultation set up. Let's get to know each other.